I, 35 female, am a doctor who owns a small practice in my locality, and also work at the government hospital. In my country, polygamy is prevalent and legal. My dad married a second wife, and I have a couple of half-siblings. Also, I'm from a very patriarchal family, where family issues are discussed and solved by the male members of the family. A few years back, a kid was brought in at the hospital after falling from monkey bars at school. Parents show up and my brother-in-law, husband to my half-sister, 29 female, is the father. We did not interact beyond doctor-patient, and after a few months when he realized I had not mentioned it to my sister, switched to bringing his wife and 2 kids from the second family to my private practice, as it is closer and faster, better service than the government hospital. My last receptionist was fired after finding out that she had been stealing money from the clinic and bought medicine from the pharmacy and sold them for higher margins online. I took legal action against her because she also bought prescription-only medication, known to be highly overused, and sold it. As revenge, I guess she informed my half-sister about her husband's second family and that I'm listed in their insurance as their primary doctor. I just treated the kid after the accident and followed protocol for the subsequent checkups. However, I am aware that they visit the clinic for the pediatrician and dental checkups. She came to my clinic, caused a huge scene, and apparently also went to the kid's school and caused a scene. If I did let her know, which I wouldn't have anyways, my brother-in-law could have reported my clinic for breaking confidentiality, and I could have lost my private practice license. My paternal family and half-siblings are calling me an a-hole for not letting her know about her husband's second family, and for treating the kid. I do not particularly care for my second family, but my friends think I did it out of spite and pettiness. I did not. My family has called a family meeting where I was told I need to be ready to apologize to my half-sister, and I should be more open about any more secrets. I might not even show up. Honestly, I'm too swamped from cases of the current virus, and honestly, I do not care to make time for people to point fingers at me. I might be the a-hole for not letting her know, but I did not want the drama that comes with that, and I do not care for it. But honestly, I want to know, am I the a-hole? Edit. I do not condone my brother-in-law's actions at all, and I do not have a relationship with my half-sister. We just share the same father. Update. Hi guys, it's been 3 months of hell. My clinic was vandalized. I got frequent visits from the Ministry of Health and Sanitation for violating virus regulations, improper disposal of bio-waste, and I was called in by the Medical License Board for an inquiry about a patient's death. 3 guesses to who was behind it all. I continuously got asked, if polygamy is legal and practiced in my family, why did they have a problem with my brother-in-law doing the same? I don't know. That question is still a mystery. Because my half-sister is their precious daughter? I'm currently home, snuggled with my husband, and we both are recovering from virus. So, I'm good. I just hope she gets the healing she needs. I do not regret any action I did, and my case did not do. If she could do this to so-called family, I shudder as to what she could have done to her husband's second family. Definitely not the a-hole. Your hands were tied. You legitimately could not say anything unless you wanted to be sued out of your butt. Yeah, no. I go back and forth. I don't think you're the a-hole because of work and you couldn't say anything. That part I get. But what I don't get is why you kept treating him instead of referring him to another office. Even then, I don't know if you could have told her, but you could have played dumb. You need to add this to the list of illegal things the receptionist did. Tell the lawyer or law or whoever. Tell someone. That's a super ducked out thing. She does something illegal. You fire and report her, and she's like, let me get my revenge for my wrongdoings. So annoying. You're the a-hole. You could have informed your sister in a number of ways, including anonymously. She'd never find out it was you. You would not face any legal or professional repercussions. You could plan a kid's checkup at the same time, ask a friend to send an anonymous email, etc. There were many, many ways you could go about it. But you decided to keep quiet, and your sister had to find out about it from someone else. You're the a-hole. You don't need to love someone as family to have basic compassion. I'd want to say that women should support each other, but really, people should support one another. If you can be kind and minimize harm, show some humanity. I don't buy it that there was no way at all for you to safely inform your sister. My father had me quite late in life, which sadly also meant that I lost him sooner. He wasn't super rich, but he had some money in his name, so there was a decent inheritance. Of that inheritance, 50% went to my mother, and 25% to me and my half-sister each. We both spent the money quite differently. I put half of it in the bank, and used the other half as a down payment on a house, allowing me to become a homeowner quite early. My half-sister and her then-boyfriend used it on a business idea that didn't work out. And then after they broke up, she used it on another idea that also did not work out. She also found out she was pregnant after she had already broken up with her boyfriend, but decided to become a single mom. She basically blew all the money in under 5 years. About 1.5 years ago, she started asking me for small loans. First, it was for Mona, Mises' school supplies. Then it was for her car, etc. Anyway, I loaned her about 500 euros and never saw any of it back. Recently, she asked me for something again, and I told her I'm not giving her an extra cent until she gives me back what she borrowed. Anyway, this is where the stuff hit the fan. She said it's unfair, that she has a child to take care of, that I don't need the money as much, and also that I'll inherit more once my mom dies, because I'm her only child. She said she feels like she should get more of the inheritance because she has Mona. I pretty much laughed at the notion, told her that's ridiculous, and that she was being rude about my mom, and told her that her bad finances are a direct result of her bad life choices, and that she's getting nothing. I said that she has no legal claim to anything, true, and I still expect that 500 back. She started crying on the phone, but I just hung up. I might have been harsh, but I still feel the situation is entirely of her own doing, and she'd likely blow any money I would give her anyway. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. She made choices, and those choices have consequences. Were you a bit harsh? No harsher than she was when she said you'll get more money when your mom dies. She needs to be an example to her daughter and manage her own stuff. Not the a-hole. You both got what you were legally entitled to from the inheritance. It's not your responsibility to bail her out if she's having financial difficulty. Not the a-hole. She didn't have Mona when your dad died, and she chose to blow through it. Choices have consequences, and I think you're right to hold firm and not give her any more money, though I don't think you'll ever get that 500 euro back. I, 25 male, am part of a large STEM family. My entire family is Ivy League educated. My parents, 5 siblings, etc. They're all doctors, scientists, and mathematicians. I'm the only one who isn't. Growing up, I was always the black sheep. School just didn't come easy to me. They even had me tested for learning disabilities at one point. I had nothing, but I just wasn't good at school. I spent my entire childhood crying over math textbooks, wondering why I didn't get it. Why it's so easy for them and not for me. Art came easy. Literature came easy. But to my family, that was trash and not worth focusing on. It didn't help that they kept sending me to the same academic schools my siblings went to. Those schools were brutal. The competition there was fierce, and kids were literally snorting Adderall to get through exam week. That environment didn't help. Things didn't improve until I moved out at 18 and got a job at a tattoo parlor. I was able to get an art degree. I started writing, going to therapy, and got a boyfriend. My life just got better because, for the first time, I could just be me. My family couldn't accept this, and contact with them became less and less. Every time I meet them, they never make an effort to talk to me about the things I like. They just talk among themselves about STEM subjects I don't understand. I try to engage with them, but the things they discuss, I just don't know. Whenever I ask questions, they get annoyed because now they have to dumb things down for the family idiot. The only time they talk to me is to discuss my failure in life. Mostly, I just sit there quietly. That's how my whole life has been with them. Recently, I got a publishing deal for my fantasy novel. I was super excited to tell my family at their New Year's party. The first thing they did was ask what kind of novel it was. When I said fantasy, they awkwardly laughed and changed the topic to my cousin's PhD thesis. This was my biggest achievement, and they crapped on it. I told them they were being rude, and that they'd treated me like crap my whole life. They snapped back to stop making a scene, that I had been a difficult child, and to be understanding. I really lost it then. I screamed that I was never a difficult child. I never drank, sneaked out, stole, did D, or got into a fight. I just wasn't into science, which isn't a big deal at all. So what if I wasn't good at school? Any other family would have been glad to have me. I left after that. Since then, they've been trying to contact me. To be fair, they do seem very apologetic, but I've been ignoring them. My dad's last text said I'm being childish, and I need to talk to them. A part of me feels bad because I ruined New Year's Eve, and a lot of my family's colleagues were there too, and they witnessed it, which was probably humiliating for them. They work in really prestigious, competitive fields, and I humiliated them. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Sounds like he just snapped after getting a lot of disrespect over the years. Also, as someone who also comes from an academic family, with a few writers, I can tell you it's a lot harder to get a book deal than a PhD. First off, holy crap, this is a huge, massive, earth-shaking accomplishment. I hope this is the start of a terrific career for you. You totally deserve it. I so much wish that I had some insight into your family's behavior. I don't. I just wish you had a happier childhood than you did, and sincerely hope your way forward is bright. Not the a-hole. Childish is crappy parent code for, you're not bowing to my will because I forever see myself as an authority. And now the truth of my behavior is making me look bad, and so I'm going to claim you're being immature because it makes me feel better. Duck them, not the a-hole. My ex and I got divorced 2 years ago and have a son, 5, together. Our child has a dark complexion and brown eyes, even though my wife and I are both very pale and have blue eyes. It was a bit surprising for me, but I never really gave the idea that this child was not my own any serious consideration. Flash forward to 3 years after our child is born, and my wife and I get divorced. Our divorce was unpleasant, but all things considered, not nearly as bad as it could have been. There was no infidelity or any irredeemable mistake by either party, just two people who no longer wanted to be together. We share custody, but my son lives primarily with my ex-wife and her boyfriend. As the boy has gotten older, his features have almost entirely diverged from mine, and he now looks absolutely nothing like me. Again, I thought nothing of it, as I trusted my ex-wife. But a couple of weekends ago when I was visiting him, I made a joke to my ex-wife that people will think I kidnapped him because of how different we look. She then bursts into tears and admits that the child is most likely not my own. I am absolutely stunned, and didn't interrupt her once, as she spilled an entire saga of her cheating on me with her current boyfriend around the time we were trying to get pregnant. I thought I was going to throw up when I heard, and immediately left her home. I don't know if I can ever go back, or ever see my son again. I feel emasculated and deeply betrayed by my ex-wife. My wife insists that I remain a part of this family, despite all of the deceit. She has called me a deadbeat for leaving after she told me the truth and not sticking around to raise my son. She claims that even after all she's done to me, I am the a-hole. I know none of this is my son's fault, and I still care a great deal about his well-being. But I just don't think I can be a father to a child that is not my own, especially when the child's actual father is fully in his life. I feel like an unnecessary appendage in this relationship, and I refuse to be humiliated any further. Am I the a-hole for refusing to raise a son that is not my own? Clarifying point. I plan on doing an official DNA test before I make any lasting decisions, but I don't feel ready to have the conversation with my ex-wife yet. She seems convinced her boyfriend is the father, not me. For now, I'm keeping my distance. As much as I might despise them, the child is perfectly safe with my ex-wife and her boyfriend. They both love him deeply, and this would be a very different conversation if that were not the case. Edit. A lot of people are talking about child support being a real issue here. I'm not particularly worried about this at the moment. That discussion will come, but both my wife and I have well-paying jobs, and the child's future will be secure financially regardless of the outcome. Not the a-hole. After you take the DNA test, think things through. If it's positive, it may just be that there are recessive genes that lead to kids looking different than their parents. Think eye color and stuff like that. If it's not your child, think about what you want. You have no obligation whatsoever to this kid, and you are by no means the a-hole. It is your ex's fault, because no matter what, she always knew there was a possibility the kid wasn't yours, and she lied to you for years. I'm sorry you're in this position, and whatever you decide moving forward, keep in mind that the kid's not to blame, and that you're 100% in the right if you choose to say goodbye to him. I wouldn't drop out from one day to the next without a single word, because that may be traumatic for him. Maybe hang out with him once and try to explain the situation if possible. And leave them for good. You are not the a-hole, but I feel really bad for the child. You are understandably upset. No one can blame you. If his father wasn't already in the picture, I would say you shouldn't abandon the child because the only father he knew would have abandoned him. I had a friend in this scenario, but the bio dad wasn't around. Since his bio dad is around, I feel like the actual parents are using you as a babysitter and financial support. That's all kinds of ducked off. The child really loses here. I don't know if with time you'd feel okay with it, but maybe you could take on an uncle role where you come around for special occasions. If you suffer psychologically, mom and bio dad are going to have to come clean and do counseling. It would be the only way I can see to heal the child, letting him know that he does have a full family. Not the a-hole. Sounds like you're approaching this logically. RE, DNA test before making a decision. I'm so sorry that happened, man. Duck her. My oldest sister, Asia, 33, is getting married in about 6 months, and we are doing things like wedding dress shopping and event planning. I already know a big wedding won't be something I'd ever want, but I'm happy helping my sister plan. Our stepmom, Becky, late 40s, and stepsister, Doe, 12, and Kaylee, 14, really haven't been included because we just don't like our stepmom. Things got worse last week when Becky insisted to be included in the wedding planning. She actually showed up to a dinner that my sister posted on Instagram that we went to. Becky went crazy yelling at us in a restaurant because her and her daughters aren't included. Aisha just died because who does this? And Becky said jealousy is a normal healthy experience for her daughter and we should think of them. I told her they all need to go to group therapy if this is how they think people should act. And maybe I should call CPS because Becky's acting like an unhinged toxic lunatic, stalking someone's Instagram and showing up at a restaurant. My sister decided to disinvite my dad from the wedding after this, and now have my grandpa walk her down the aisle. Some family members think it was disrespectful to talk to my stepmom like that. Call her crazy. I personally think my sister should just file a restraining order to keep Becky out of the wedding, because she's crazy for just stalking somebody's Instagram stories and showing up to a restaurant to yell at people. Does Jesus? I'd tell them where to go if it were me. It's not for relatives to opine on a topic they're spectators to, rather than having lived it. Also, respect is not given, it's earned. Not the a-hole at all. She deserved worse, and higher security for the wedding. Not the a-hole, yikes. She may not be able to get a restraining order, but she needs to get security for her wedding and set up passwords with all her vendors and venue. 'Cause I can see Becky and company crashing the wedding, or worse, messing with her wedding vendors. Not the a-hole, but your sister needs to stop posting everything on Instagram before, during, pre-wedding planning. She should post after the event is over for pics. This way your stepmom can't continue to ruin her events that come before the wedding. Info diet. And also, advise your sister to have some good security on hand to take out any trash that might show up, and to password protect with her venue and vendors.